and the crowd goes wild.
Chai, 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 chai.
Chai, 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 chai.
Is this the guy?
You want an autograph?
Wow.
I'll get you an autograph. Thank you. Thank you.
Damn, did I wake up in 2006? Because surprise AAA game drops like this do not happen anymore. Either I'm not as in tune with new releases as much as I think, or this game actually got no marketing. It's a shame because I can already tell you that this game is way better than that Ghostwire Tokyo game that Bethesda tried to put over last year. Only reason I'm making the comparison is because of the same devs. Yeah, apparently Tango Gameworks were slaving away on both games at the same time, but consciously, for whatever reason, chose to keep this one hush hush. Something about it not aligning with the company image or something, but that's a bunch of malarkey since Shinji Mikami's the man behind this whole operation, and he's been involved with plenty of goofy ass games in the past. But besides that, we can use more flashback games like these with actual budgets. And what I mean by that is that this game feels like it was ripped straight from the GameCube PlayStation 2 era. The bubbly graphics, the mega linear gameplay, the punk rock attitude. This game is 2000s as fuck, and goddamn it's refreshing. But before we get into why, what the hell is this game even about? What's with our one-arm wannabe rockstar here, and why does every robot want a piece of him?
Well, I'm in. I hope no one noticed.
So Hi-Fi-Rush follows a young dude named Chai who has big dreams to become a rock star. Unfortunately for him though, his right arm is disabled, which pushes him into volunteering for this program called Project Armstrong. It's a program pushed by a company named Vandelay where people can get their limbs replaced with cybernetic ones. While in the process of getting his arm replaced, the CEO Kale carelessly throws away Chai's iPod onto him right before his procedure. This results in Chai coming out with the arm he wanted, but also this strange new musical connection with the world around him. Because of this mishap, he's labeled as a defect, and now every employee is out for his ass.
Is that a weapon?
I don't think so.
I think he's resisting.
Wait, what?
Fortunately for Chai, his new arm came equipped with this pole grabber that can transform into a guitar-like weapon. He makes his escape from Vandelay's campus, but not without the help of a young woman named Peppermint and her cat 808. The two form a tenuous alliance against Vandelay to uncover their secret plan called Spectra, but not without resistance from the bosses, who they eventually need to take down. The rest of the game sees our ragtag group of rebels doing just that, with our main character obviously doing the bulk of the work.
All right, come and get me. Run!
So yeah, this game's art style is pretty damn striking. Beginning cutscene alone, you can pause on any screen and it looks like a goddamn page out of a comic book. A pretty common aesthetic in the indie sphere, but in the AAA space, yeah, no, nothing else is looking like this. Even though this aesthetic isn't entirely original, it doesn't make it any less appealing. This game is oozing with color, boy. They made sure to use every crayon in the box, huh? Shit, I thought Sunset Overdrive was bright and vibrant. This game makes that one look like Gears of War 1. There's not a single dreary looking part of this game. Even the industrial mechanical levels are bursting with life. Of course, the colorful art style plays into that, but it's also the fact that the entire environment is moving to the beat. Everything from fucking shrubs and trees to flickering lights to platforms are moving to the music. Even Chai himself is jamming out to the music in his idle animation, and the enemies in this game also follow suit. This all goes back to this being half a rhythm game where you have to time your attacks to the music, and they went all in providing visual indicators for that. It's actually a very diegetic way in teaching the players what the tempo is. It makes sense story-wise too, since after the procedure, this is literally how Chai feels the world. Reason I'm pointing this out is because they really didn't have to go this far with it. They could have just had the environment remain stagnant with this tempo meter at the bottom at all times, but instead they decided to go the stylish route, and this game is much more appealing for it. Makes it easier to be drawn into these songs even if you're not a rock loving dude. As someone that is a rock loving dude though, it also helps that the music generally is pretty damn fire. It being a music game, it better fucking be, right? Lots of fast paced garage rockish type songs with funky grooves and nasty riffs.
Started out at the back of the show. I've had enough of being part of the crowd.
The music is appropriately as high energy as the action on screen. The thing that throws me back though was how many licensed songs they actually got. Yeah, your eyes and ears aren't deceiving you. They got freaking Nine Inch Nails, Fiona Apple, The Black Keys, and more. They even added a streaming mode so guys like me don't get copyright striked. The licensed songs actually fit the track list pretty well. Unless the game told me, I didn't really notice what was an original song or a licensed song, since they all mostly go for the same feeling. At least that's until you get to Mimosa's level and the music unexpectedly switches to jazz and soul. Feels like I stepped into a goddamn Persona level. It's a welcome change though.
Horrible. Here we go.
Yeah, I can already see this game will produce some interesting fan art with these character designs. Hell, Corsica alone is already 34 reasons why people bought this game. Don't fucking lie to me, I know what y'all are into. That aside, I do like how our cast of characters all look like rock band members. It really plays into this whole entire game feeling like one long music video. They even got the beginning credits on the side there. Love how effortless the transitions from the cutscenes to gameplay are. This is what a clear scope and art direction looks like, folks. No bugs, glitches, or performance issues to report about either.
Sup, fellow Vandelay employees? Catching the lift?
Yep. Secure the room too, just as
There's the
well.
defect! Stop him!
Nah, this is the guy that fixed the security system, man.
Idiots! That's the defect!
So this game isn't too complicated. It's practically your typical hack and slash via Devil May Cry, except you have to time your hits to the beat to get proper combos rolling. Sounds pretty challenging until you realize that every song has the same continuous rhythm and a lot of attacks are automatically synced up to the music. Nah, what you really gotta worry about is the last hit of the combo where you have to time the circle prompt. It deals extra damage while also leading to some extra moves with your teammates. And speaking of them, while you're whipping ass with the guitar, you can call them in at any time to assist you. Peppermint has 2 Glocks that break blue shields, Macaron lays the smackdown on green shields, and Corsica puts out fires with tornadoes. The combat overall starts out pretty slow since you don't have all these people with you and you actually have to buy all your combos with currency you earn. However, once you actually acquired some of this stuff, the combat starts to feel pretty good for the most part. Even though other hack and slash games aren't rhythm games, you've probably noticed that there's still sort of a rhythm to their combat. Enemies attack at certain times and you have some windows to punish and counterattack. This game is just very blatant about that rhythm and all the better for it. Especially when you're actually feeling the music in the background, it feels mad cathartic dodging and parrying enemies to the beat of it. Of course, all your moves are flashy and cool looking, which plays into that, but what makes all your attacks feel even better is how there's a guitar riff after every hit. Yeah, you're essentially creating your own guitar solo while laying the beat down. There's plenty of combos that Chai on his own can unleash, but calling in teammates at the right time can extend the whoop ass to a disgusting degree. Similar to DMC, you got this style meter on the top right here that you build up by keeping up the aggression, but it's nowhere near as hard to maintain. What's cool is how when you maintain an S rank, you start hearing chants for Chai in the music. It's actually pretty difficult to get a good rank for the stage though. Look at this, all A's and B's, and yet my final grade is a D somehow. To get a high grade, you gotta be fast as hell and stylish, which can be pretty damn difficult when faced with all these forced parry sections. Yeah, for those that haven't played this game, I'm just letting y'all know now. If you're not good at parrying or have slow reaction speeds, then the latter half of this game will kick your ass because it's filled with this shit. When you're close to killing strong enemies in this game, you'll be sucked into this rhythm mini game where you have to parry attacks in the same rhythm as presented in the cues. So for example, successfully do that and you get the kill. It's easier said than done though, because each enemy type has a different rhythm and some are fucked up with how offbeat they are. Those samurai guys were giving me all the smoke in the beginning with their weird ass timings, but eventually I adapted. I had to, because later on you'll be doing multiple different versions of these back to back, and it only takes one missed parry to be forced to redo them. Probably my only gripe in this game really, being forced to finish off these enemies like this every time got repetitive fast, and they could have gone around this by just having a button prompt appear over enemy heads and give the player the choice to do these God of War style. Also, for such a vital mechanic, you would think it would be one of the first things the game teaches you, but you don't get the ability until late into the 3rd level. Doesn't sound that deep until you find out that this game only has 12 levels. Not having it in the first 2 levels makes the combat feel pretty naked, and I was worried that I was only going to like this game for its aesthetics, which thankfully that's not the case though. Having a whole boss battle centered around it with Corsica was pretty dope, especially with how the parries crescendo with the music in the end. It's a fan favorite fight already, but I would argue not for the mechanics but instead the character banter, which is pretty great.
You think you can strong-arm me?
Hey, you chose to fight. Wait, you like puns too?
What? No. Whatever. Let's see how you handle this.
What the?
Caught you off guard.
Okay, scratch parrying everything.
Yeah, that didn't work. Plus, she's totally lying about hating puns.
I do think that all the boss fights after her are better though. They're just more interesting mechanically in that you're freely fighting them instead of being locked into the rhythm game. They also got a bunch of different phases that gradually escalate in difficulty. Boss 101 shit, they're not exactly reinventing the wheel here, but they don't really have to since these fights are pretty memorable challenges regardless. Especially if you play on hard mode like I did, bosses like Kale and Mimosa will have you seeing game overs more than I see your mom. The latter in particular reminded me why I used to suck at games like Guitar Hero back in the day. Of course, fighting to dope music isn't the only thing that this game has going for it. There's plenty of platforming and using your teammates' abilities to get through many obstacles. Peppermint shoots down shields, Macaron breaks down walls, Corsica can power these generator things to activate platforms and shit. This is the part of the game that probably feels the most PlayStation 2, as levels are mega linear with almost no open-endedness in how to do things. Yeah, whatever's presented is what you gotta do, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just wish that these parts went by a little faster and were actually challenging in some way. Chai is on the slow side of things movement-wise. That motherfucker doesn't get anywhere with his slow-ass strides, which can make a lot of these parts feel like they're dragging on longer than they should. There's also the fact that there's really no consequence in fucking up missed jumps. Minor damage, but that's about it. The most difficult part about going through these levels is honestly just nailing these rhythm QTEs the first time you do them. Yeah, there's not really much else to talk about here. I can appreciate the novelty of this game having levels designed like these since games aren't really designed like this anymore, but that's about it with my enjoyment.
Going up is very up. And I just lost the quick way.
Ah, the Chai I know wouldn't let that stop him.
Macaron, you've known me for like 5 hours.
So a lot of people are already using this game as an example on how to write witty dialogue without being cringy, and that's because of the recent release of Forspoken, which already has garnered a reputation as one of the most poorly written games around. I haven't played that game myself, so I can't comment on its quality, but based on some clips I've seen, it seems that game's filled with that Joss Whedon MCU style dialogue, but at its absolute worst. You know, every line is filled with sarcasm and irony, with characters not allowed to be sincere. It's a way of writing that's unfortunately becoming way more common, but thankfully, it's not present in this game. Nope, this game is light-hearted Saturday morning cartoon vibes where much of the humor is just a likable cast of characters bouncing off each other. It's actually pretty funny at points.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna reason with it.
Well, we had a good run.
Look, man, I think we have more in common than we do apart. How about...
They play it straightforward, which is pretty refreshing in the era of meta jokes. Once in a while they throw in some fourth wall breaking jokes here and there, but thankfully it's not too often.
These rhythm games are too hard. I want to relax, but you gotta time it right. I'll get back to work. Just one more game.
Much of the fun is brought together by our main man Chai here, who's added to the list of lovable idiot protagonists. He gives me Ben from Ben 10 vibes. He's overconfident and impulsive, and his dynamic with the rest of the team practically writes itself, as in contrast, they're way more reserved and try to plan things out.
This is the greatest plan ever!
This is the dumbest plan ever.
It's clear he rubs off on them by the end of the game though. Our band of misfits become a solid friend group by the end, and it's actually pretty wholesome. The character developments are minor, but they are there. Notice how when Corsica joins the team, her drip becomes way more loose and punkish. With that type of aesthetic, you can guess that there's a clear fuck the man theme throughout this game, and yeah, you'd pretty much be right, as throughout the game, you're taking down the heads of a conglomerate that clearly exploit their workers. All the employees being robots is probably a not so subtle metaphor on that. Or, you know, maybe I'm just reading too much into it and they just had them all be robots to lessen the age rating. Either way, it's a satisfying underdog story with our boy Chai going from a wannabe rockstar to a legit rockstar. Kale labels him as a defect and originally designates him to become a trash man, but that same defection ends up being the downfall of his entire company. It's caused by his own recklessness too, which is ironic. I mentioned some class consciousness stuff, but obviously this game doesn't take itself that seriously. How could it with villains this wacky? Yeah, these guys are just as fun to watch as our heroes. You got Rekka, who's watched way too much WWE. This is a Nato guy who's watched way too much JoJo. Kale, who looks and acts like a much calmer version of Handsome Jack. Weird how much of a presence this dude had despite not having much screen time. Every scene he appeared in, he stole the show. I guess that's what happens when you have such a smug attitude combined with such a buttery smooth voice. He's the type of villain you just love to hate.
Stealing my technology and then calling yourself a rockstar? For doing what, exactly?
Taking you down!
Is that what this looks like to you? 'Cause no, you don't have what it takes, kid.
So yeah, that's Hi-Fi-Rush. If this game is an indication on the quality of upcoming games this year, then it's going to be a damn good year because this game was pretty dope. You can actually feel the passion behind this game, which is not something I can say about other AAA titles these days. Feels like a game I've played before while simultaneously feeling fresh. You can cop it for $30 on Steam or just get it for free on the Xbox Game Pass. Either one you choose, you won't regret it. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about this one. If you enjoyed this video, I got plenty of more like it on the channel. Help this video out in the algorithm by doing the usual stuff, and until next time.